FMGC failure. Single FMGC failure. Should a single FMGC failure occur, the AP, if engaged on the affected side, will disconnect. The flight crew can recover the AP by selecting the other AP. The autothrust remains operative. Furthermore, flight plan information on the affected ND may be recovered by using the same range as the opposite ND. The flight crew should consider an FMGC reset as detailed in QRH. Dual FMGC failure. Should a dual FMGC failure occur, the AP, FD and autothrust will disconnect. The flight crew should try to recover both AP and autothrust by selecting them back on the AP, and autothrust can be recovered if the FG parts of the FMGC are still available. If both AP and autothrust cannot be recovered, the flight crew will have to move the thrust levers to recover manual thrust. The flight crew should switch off the FDs and select Track FPA to display the blue track index and the bird. The flight crew can use the RMP to tune the NAVAIDs. The flight crew should refer to the QRH for system reset considerations and then refer to automatic FMGC reset and resynchronization, FM reset, to reload both FMGCs as required. If both FMGCs cannot be recovered and if the backup nav function is installed, the backup nav function provides simplified IRS-based navigation. Automatic FMGC reset and resynchronization. FM reset. When the FM software cannot work properly or receives instructions to perform impossible operations, it automatically resets itself. A resynchronization with the other FM always follows. When the reset is a minor one, the system will recover by itself. One single reset lasts 2 to 3 seconds maximum, followed by a resynchronization. When the reset is a major one, resets recur at short intervals, several in 1 minute. The memories are cleared, leading to the loss of flight plan, gross weight, C, cruise flight level, MCDU entered speeds and NAVAIDs. Caution. If 4 dual FM resets occur in 3 minutes, pilot entered data is lost. If a dual reset is identified, it is recommended that the flight crew does not perform again the last MCDU actions for 1 minute in order to avoid a potential second dual reset, leading to the loss of pilot entered data. FM resynchronization. An FM resynchronization automatically occurs after an FM reset, but it may occur independently each time self-comparisons between the FM1 and FM2 reveal discrepancies. If 3 successive resynchronizations fail, independent mode commences. FMGC status during a reset. RESYNCHRONIZATION. While a reset, RESYNCH occurs. The ND shows map not avail. The MCDU may revert to the menu page. Auto-tuning of NAVAID VOR, DME, ADF are lost on the failed side. AP, FD, auto-thrust modes may be transiently lost. A reversion to basic modes heading V, S or Track, FPA occurs if the FM resets while AP is engaged. Single latch. If 5 successive resets occur in 4 minutes, the failing FMGC will latch no auto-recovery, and single-mode operation will start. While failed, the following occurs. On the ND usually associated with the failed FMGC. If the NDs are not both in the same mode or range, the associated ND displays map not avail and set offside range mode. If the NDs are in the same mode and range, the associated ND displays the offside FM control amber message. The MCDU reverts to the menu page and shows an opposite FMGC prompt. If the AP and FD were previously engaged on the failed side, the AP and FD disengage and the right-hand column of the FMA shows that the operating FD is offside. The ECAM displays the AP off warning, and the master warning light and audio remind the pilot of the AP disengagement. All functions are restored on the operative side. Procedure for single latch. Select the same range and mode on both NDs to give the failed ND side something to display. Select any function key on the affected FMGC MCDU. The page will display opposite FMGC in process. Both MCDUs are now driven by the other FMGC, and only one AP, FD is available. The system works in single mode. Perform a manual reset of the failed FMGC when convenient. Single latch with AP and FD still available in managed modes on both sides. In some cases, one FMS may fail and latch no auto-recovery, but the FMS may continue to send valid but frozen guidance targets to the FG. These frozen guidance targets correspond to the last valid targets sent by the FMS before the failure. In that case, the FG does not see the FMS failure. Both AP and FD may remain available. If the AP is engaged on the affected side, the failed FMGC continues to guide the aircraft in managed mode speed, vertical and lateral with the frozen targets. When the FMGC fails, the cockpit effects are as follows. PFD. There is no change on the FMA. No mode reversion, no automatic AP disconnection, and no automatic auto thrust disconnection. One FD2 may remain displayed on both FMA. The FD orders are erroneous on the side of the failed FMGC, since based on the frozen guidance targets. The FD orders are still available and correct on the opposite side. ND. The flight crew may encounter one of the following two situations. Situation 1. The ND associated to the failed FMGC displays map not avail in red, and GPS primary lost in amber. Situation 2. The ND associated to the failed FMGC displays either the map coming from the opposite FMS and offside FM control in amber, if both NDs are in the same range and mode, or map not avail in red and set offside range mode in amber, if both NDs are not in the same range and mode. MCDU. The MCDU of the failed FMGC is frozen. The other MCDU displays independent operation in amber. ECAM. The FWS may trigger the ECAM alert cabin pressure landing elevation fault. Procedure. Disregard the information coming from the failed side. Do not use the AP on the affected side. If the AP is engaged on the affected side, fly the aircraft back on the intended path. Engage the AP on the operative side, according to the recommended practice for autopilot engagement. If time permits, perform a long reset of the failed FMGC. If the failure affects FMGC1, and if the FMGC1 is still failed and latched before the approach, do not use AP1 for the approach. Before disconnecting AP2, revert to selected speed. Disconnect autothrust. Note: it prevents the autothrust from switching to the frozen speed target of the failed FMGC1. The flight crew disconnects the AP2 for landing. Dual reset with loss of data and auto-recovery. 4 successive dual resets in 3 minutes erases all flight crew entered data. When FMGS recovery is obtained, the FM position bias is lost. The FM position returns to the mix IRS position. Auto-tuning the VOR DME is restored, based on the aircraft's IRS position. FMGS tuning of the ILS and ADF is not possible. Lateral and vertical managed mode cannot re-engage. The cabin pressure landing elevation fault alert is triggered. A map display may be lost on 1ND. Procedure. When the system recovers. If the FMGC remains in takeoff phase, change the vertical mode in order to recover the next flight phase. Select direct to the required downpath waypoint. Select lateral revision at the downpath waypoint and redefine the destination. Redefine the flight plan for the remainder of the flight. If both map not avail and set offside range, MODE remain displayed on 1ND, or if offside FM control remains displayed, temporarily select a different mode or range on the corresponding EFIS control panel. Perform a nav accuracy check when possible. The flight crew should consider a manual FM position update if mix IRS and actual positions differ by more than 20 nautical miles. FMS degraded mode. In some remote cases, several automatic resets in a row on one or both FMS, the affected FMS may enter a degraded mode with no predictions. The intent of this degraded mode is to keep maximum use of the FMS and related functions. The characteristics of this FMS degraded mode are the following. The predictions are lost on the affected FMS. All predictions are replaced by dashes on MCDU pages. The vertical profile and managed speed computations are lost on the affected FMS in approach phase. V-approach is correctly computed and managed speed is available. Managed vertical guidance and managed speed if previously used are lost and revert to selected mode. Lateral path computation and guidance remain available. The MCDU displays the FM predictions lost message. Note: if predictions are lost on one FMS only, all managed modes are available when using the other side AP. The approach phase must be activated manually. Procedure. If the message, FM predictions lost, is displayed, if vertical managed guidance and/or prediction are not deemed necessary, keep using the FMS as needed for lateral navigation only. Use selected modes for vertical and speed guidance. Note: if only one FMS has entered the degraded mode, consider using the other AP. If vertical managed guidance and/or predictions are required, re-enter a cost index value on init A or performance page. Predictions for the active flight plan are then recomputed. Note: in approach phase, a direct C entry is not allowed. It is then not possible to recover predictions. However, entry of the current altitude in the cruise flight level field will force the cruise phase and thus allow to re-enter the C. The approach phase may then be reactivated again. Dual latch. Both FMGCs are inoperative. FM and FG capability are lost. Both NDs display, map not available. Navade tuning is not performed. AP, FD, A, THR are lost. FMGC timeout subsystem page is displayed on both MCDUs. The following messages are displayed on the ECAM. Cabin pressure landing elevation fault. Autoflight AP off, if AP was engaged. Autoflight autothrust off, if autothrust is engaged. Procedure. Fly raw data. Tune necessary NAVAIDs using the RMPs. Perform a manual reset of both FMGCs. If successful, refer to dual reset with loss of data and auto recovery. Note: a recovery will result in the loss of all pilot entered data. If unsuccessful, fly raw data. Select the nav backup prompt on both MCDU data pages. Set the landing elevation of the destination on the overhead panel. Note for all FMGC automatic resets. A single or double FM auto reset does not affect an ILS approach below 700 feet AGL. ILS frequency is locked and AP, FDs remain engaged. Above 700 feet, the loss of ILS tuning due to a dual reset will cause a loss of lock and glide slope, and the disengagement of APs and FDs. During a non-ILS approach, if the master FMGC fails, AP, FD and managed modes are lost and FDs engage in basic modes.